Salam Suwara has been driving trucks across the occupied West Bank for around 20 years. He delivers fresh vegetables from farms in the north. Today, Suwara is driving to Bethlehem. It's a 100-kilometre trip and will take at least 4 hours. But sometimes the journey is even longer. One of the main reasons for this is checkpoints, where Israeli soldiers check Palestinian identity cards and often their cars as well. Suwara says the drive is easier than it used to be, but there are still problems.
When there's trouble in the West Bank, it becomes harder to pass through the checkpoints. They hold us for 2 or 3 hours, sometimes more. From 2001 to 2007, we used to sleep for 2 or 3 days at the checkpoint so we could pass.
On the way, Suwara stops to pick up more vegetables. He says he'd prefer to take a different road through the West Bank, which would make his trip shorter. But that would mean driving past settlements. He says this isn't safe because sometimes settlers throw stones at his truck. Instead, he drives through the Jordan Valley. This is the last checkpoint the truck has to pass through on its way to Bethlehem. There are hundreds of Israeli checkpoints and roadblocks across the occupied West Bank, and Palestinians often have to wait at them for hours. The United Nations says Israel has set up more than 500 obstacles on roads in the occupied West Bank, which hinder Palestinians' travel. These include more than 80 checkpoints and more than 400 roadblocks. The last part of the journey from near Ramallah to Bethlehem is on this bypass road. Palestinians have to go this way because Israel's separation wall and system of permits does not allow them to travel through Jerusalem, which is the quickest route. So instead, drivers use this narrow and steep road which winds through the valley.
It would be better if they removed the checkpoints. If we didn't have to take the bypass road, we could go to Jerusalem and then Bethlehem. It could save us 2 hours and lots of effort.
Salam Suwara says he can never guarantee how long his road trip will take. He says the uncertainty is exhausting and stressful, and there's no sign this will change soon. Nicole Johnston, Al Jazeera, in the occupied West Bank.